Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about how men treat women that they do not find attractive. And in saying this, you could be really attractive, but if you're not his type, there's just a way they treat you. So gather around and let's discuss it down in the comments below, because I've had my experiences too. And they're not nice. So let's listen in, because a man who only treats you well when he's attracted in pursuing you, then he's not really a good man. And you need to watch this out, whether it's happening to you or to your girlfriend, so that you know what to watch out for. Like and subscribe to keep the conversation flowing.
One thing I've noticed that doesn't get spoken about a lot is how some, yes some, because you know how that gender gets when you generalize, but how some men treat women that they're not attracted to. By the end of this video, you're going to be side-eyeing a lot of your male friends, because you're going to realize that a lot of them are not friends with you because you're you, they're just friends with you because they find you attractive. Do I think I'm an ugly babe? Absolutely not. When God made me, he said it's good. However, I've definitely been on the receiving side of being treated differently because I'm not someone that you're attracted to. Again, I have to say that it's some men, because it's not all men. Like, some men actually have manners. Some men know how to have a conversation with people that they're not attracted to. Some people know how to just be friendly, but some of you don't have manners. Some of you missed that lesson in school. They literally just ignore you. Like, they don't even treat you like a human being. You could be standing there with your friends and they'll say hi, hi. Literally, you don't have to be friends with everybody. No one's forcing you to be my friend. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want to be friends with somebody that has that type of mentality anyway. But simple respect, simple treating someone like a human being, you can't do. As a girl, why you'd want to be friends with somebody that can't treat other women with basic human respect and decency, I don't know. A lot of you lot's male friends is not really your friends. If you was to be ugly tomorrow, you will never hear from them again. A lot of boys just want a lot of pretty girls around them to make themselves look like they're that guy. So all I'm saying is keep an eye out, because most of these guys are just sitting there waiting for their turn to smash. Just saying.
Yeah, no, this is very true. For a lot of men, women they don't find as attractive are pretty much completely invisible to them. And there's a scene from one of my favorite shows, Coupling, that just really nails this perfectly. And while Patrick plays the chauvinist character and is often the joke character in the show, it's crazy how often his behavior is so accurate for how men continue to behave. And it all comes back to my same tired talking point that men need to develop empathy for women to see them as people, not simply as objects that they're trying to get something out of.
Most males don't even care about the soul and the mind, because they only care about your face and your behind. And see, your face and your behind can get old and spoiled, but your soul and your mind develops like fine wine. What will you value? Because based on what you value, it will determine how your life gonna look in the end.
One of the biggest lessons I ever learned, or harshest realities I ever, had to come to, is realizing that men do not care about your accomplishments as a woman. They don't care about your education. They don't care about your degrees. They don't care about how much money you're making. They don't care about, what businesses you're running. They don't care about any of that stuff. If they do not find you attractive, they will not go out of their way for you whatsoever. They will walk right past you to a beautiful woman. And the thing about it is, the sooner you realize that and accept it, you won't even get offended by it. Because the thing about it, men and women are just wired differently. A real man doesn't really have to care what a woman has going on. If he has, money, if he has education, all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's not like you can't even really fault it. Like, men have the luxury because for the most part across, I don't even know if I would go as far as saying like across the world, but for the most part in most communities, men make more money than women. So they have the luxury of being able to date for things outside of stability, you know, even general, sometimes even compatibility. They can date for whatever reason they want to, whereas women, like, you know, sometimes we're looking for other stuff. We can have $1 million in the bank. A lot of women would still want a man that has more money than them or has something equal or something similar. I'm not saying all women, but a lot of women, because they're just scared, you know, they know it makes them an easy target for men that are leeches and moochers and, you know, just want to use them. But men, they just are wired differently. They can go after what's beautiful. So realizing that as a woman, I also had to come to the other harsh reality of what my grandmother told me when I was like maybe 14 or 15. She told me that you have to maintain your appearance as a woman until the day you die. And I know some of y'all are thinking like, well, damn, Taylor, you didn't listen. I don't wear makeup all the time, but I still kind of feel like I'm put together. I always have good hygiene. I always maintain, you know, a certain level of fitness. Y'all know my mother died. She had a stroke when I was 13. So I always try to maintain a certain level of fitness. But she told me that you have to be it all, or like you have to, like, you can be funny, you can be smart, you can be strong, you can be, you know, like all of these other things, but you can never neglect your appearance in the process. And coming to that realization, like, wow, as a woman, you always have to maintain your appearance because it's just, there's so much currency in a woman's appearance. And I'm going to tell you one other thing. My grandmother is 94 years old. She's a woman who's always taking care of herself physically. She always told me, don't let your kids stress you out. Don't let your husband stress you out. Don't let your job stress you out. And I'm telling you right now, every time I go out with my grandmother, she always gets compliments on her looks. People never believe her age. She gets hit on by men at 94 years old. She's still getting hit on, which is crazy to me, but it happens. And I understand now that like beautiful women are always going to have options. Okay, so like at the very most, a man who can get a beautiful woman that's also smart, funny, and all that other stuff, he's gonna feel like he hit the jackpot. But if you're a woman that never really puts much effort into their appearance, you don't maintain your fitness, you don't really, you know, try to dress in a way that's, you know, where you at least look polished. You don't have to wear makeup. You don't have to look like a Barbie doll. Some people prefer a more natural look. You don't have to have a super exaggerated body or anything like that either. But if you don't look put together or they don't find you attractive, it's hard, like dating. It is. And like I said, men are just wired differently. They're built differently. They have the luxury of being able to date just for looks. Whereas women, we're looking for more than that. Okay? So if you're a woman that has money, education, you know, can provide for themselves, all of this kind of stuff, but you don't do anything to maintain your appearance, unfortunately, you're going to attract sometimes the wrong men. I see it all the time. Like, you might attract the pretty men, but you're going to have to take care of them physically, financially, all of that kind of stuff. They will mooch off of you. They will lie to you. They will abuse you. They will do all of this other stuff. They will try to control your finances. They will splurge on other women on your dime. I've seen it happen. Okay? And ask any woman who's maybe had an extreme like weight loss or done something to their self physically. Like, for instance, maybe they got their teeth done. Maybe they changed their hair. Maybe they got their breasts done. Maybe they got like a liposuction, something like that. Ask them if their quality of men or the type of men that they attracted once they made those physical changes changed. Ask them. And the thing about it is, it made me sick to my stomach, like coming to this realization, because I've always been a woman that prided herself on being like smart, and I think that I'm funny, and I think that I have a lot of things going on for me. But men just do not care about stuff like that. They really don't. Like I said, you have to either have both or just be beautiful. You can't have all of this stuff and not be attractive, because men will, like I said, they will walk right past you unless they're the type that is going to mooch and just take advantage. Not a lot of these men are just so shallow. It's disgusting. Like, it's disgusting, but I've just grown to accept it. And fortunately for me, outside of how you see me right now, fortunately for me, I've always been a woman that's known how to put themselves together. I always have known how to do my own hair, always have known how to do makeup, always have tried to maintain my shape, my figure, whatever. I think I have like a more temperamental, well, not temperamental, I would say I have like a more subtle personality when it comes to like dealing with men, for the most part. Men that I'm interested in. People that I'm not super interested in, I'll be a little bit more but men that I'm interested in, I know how to just like sit back and just be a girl. I know how to say thank you, I know how to say please, I know how to just not argue all the time, not make a big deal about things that aren't super important to me. Like, sometimes if I sit back and be like, okay, I'll let him have this, it's not a big deal. Like, I don't always go back and forth. But the thing about it is, it's still kind of just rough to spend so much time like on yourself, developing yourself. And the truth of the matter is just the way that society is. A lot of men just don't care about that kind of stuff. So I always like to come and share like positive stuff, but I don't always have something positive to say, unfortunately. That was just a lesson that I learned, and hopefully maybe you guys can maybe chime off in the comments and tell me if that's been your experience, or you figured that out as well, that like men, they just don't really care about all of these accomplishments and stuff like that. As a woman, that's just something that you have to pride on for yourself. Like, I have a bachelor's in chemistry, I have a master's in chemistry, I work in real estate, I have what do I say? Wait, what else do I do? Oh, I work in tech sales and stuff. I almost forgot that. And literally, I'm like at my job right now. But I do all of this stuff, and I've always been able to, take care of myself. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I'm like a real adult. Like, my family put a lot into me, and I put a lot into myself. Like, just learning things and being curious about life. And when it comes down to it, a lot of men just want like a pretty woman that's pleasant to be around, because they have that luxury of not really having to care about the other stuff. If you have it and you're beautiful on top, then they really care. But if you're, have it, but you're not really super attractive to them, they don't find you attractive, they will walk right past you. Or maybe they'll get with you and use you, like I said, for some of this stuff, if they're not a decent guy. But you'll always feel like something's missing, because it's like, if you're not their dream girl, they're not going to go out of their way. So, yeah.
Did you know that men get angry when they see an attractive woman? In this study, 78% of men who looked at a woman who were considered physically unattractive revoked emotional responses that were similar to psychopaths. This goes to show that even though we're living at a time where people are trying to include others from diverse backgrounds, beauty and appearance still plays a huge factor in how other people interact with you. If you always take into account appearance and perception when it comes to your brand and business, you'll be able to achieve success. Follow me for more tips on branding and marketing.
It's honestly crazy to me how men treat unattractive women. So I'm not gonna say I was like ugly, but in high school, I was definitely nowhere near as attractive as I am now. And also I was just like nerdy, skinny, kind of just not confident. but men were just so mean to me. I'm talking like they would full on ignore me in conversations. So when I got to college and started getting all of this male attention, I was like so confused. The switch up to me is just so crazy because now I literally get everything for free. I get invited to the craziest things with like celebrities, rappers, like not because I'm famous, because I'm pretty and so are my friends. That's literally the only reason. Obviously we're fun too, but it just makes me sad though how men view unattractive women versus attractive women. It's just like, who cares? Anyways, love you guys so much. Fuck men. Bye.
I grew up a very unattractive person. Boys did not look at me. Boys don't even look at me now.
So I want to touch on this video, you guys. This popped up on my For You page, and I just wanted to talk about it. So this is something that I used to think when I was younger, right? I'm 30 years old. She's 21. She stated in the video that because of how she's felt her entire life, she's been made to feel ugly, and she's never felt attractive because guys never talk to her. And even now she feels like guys never talk to her. Keep in mind, I believe she said that she was 21 years old. I've grown up in a predominantly white suburb my entire life, and being the darker skinned black girl in the suburbs, you're never told that you're pretty. In fact, you are violently told that you're ugly all the time. You're unattractive, you're undesirable, nobody likes you. There is nothing about you that is unattractive. It's literally your surroundings and where you are. When I left Tampa and I decided to move to Boca, and I lived in Boca for 3 years, the way that my self-esteem changed and the way that men reacted to me down there versus here was completely different. Sometimes I think about how shot my self-esteem would have been had I never left home. Like, I went from being in a predominantly white place here in Tampa where I live to being in a predominantly black place, always in Broward County all the time. Like, it was just a world's difference. So for her and anyone else watching who feels that way, you're not ugly. You just have to change your surroundings, especially when it comes to men. And also, you're not ugly. You just have to change up your style. You just have to try different things that work for you. Experiment with the way you look. Experiment with your hair, with your makeup, with your wardrobe, with your clothing, all of that. I'm telling y'all, changing my surroundings made a world of difference for my self-esteem in the long run. That's why at 30 years old, I'm happy, very happy.
Physically unattractive women are fucking rude.
So there's a really interesting study that we learned about in my social psych class about like the halo effect of beauty. And people who are beautiful are more likely to be rated as like better people, kind people, interesting people, fun to talk to. So they did this study where they had pictures of ugly women and beautiful women and gave those pictures to a man on the phone. He was told that he was talking to the woman in the photograph. All these men talked to the same woman, but they were told that the person they were talking to was the person in the photograph. There was the ugly group and the beautiful group. When men thought that they were talking to an ugly woman, they rated the conversation as less interesting, that she was less kind, and she was less intelligent, unlikely to become friends with her. What was interesting was they had a blind rater listening to the conversation and decide how the speaker actually sounded. Again, same woman, and the rater said that the ugly woman, without seeing the image of her, was also less appealing to talk to. This is because when people are treated badly, they respond badly. Men were nicer to the beautiful women, and so they were nicer in response.
I just saw 2 different videos about men complaining about the ugly friend at the bar, like blocking them from talking to the hot friend. And these 2 men both framed it as this ugly friend, aka just the friend they don't find as attractive, is jealous of and bitter of their attractive friend. And while it's totally possible that a woman can be jealous of her friend, most of the time, that's not what's happening. This is copium, my guy. Here's the dynamic that you're missing. Usually, this ugly friend, this is their language, but basically, the woman they don't find attractive, usually that woman is bigger. She's fat, she's larger, she's taller, whatever it is. They're just not drawn to her in the same way they're drawn to the little 5'3" girl that's 100 pounds soaking wet. And sometimes that 5'3" woman is not interested in talking to you, but you're 5'11", my guy, and she's afraid to tell you that, or to signal it in any way that's not like, no thanks, or like, oh no, I'm okay, and you're just not hearing her. And that's when someone like me steps in. I'm 5'9", and I'm not worried about having a power imbalance against you as much as she is. So I literally insert myself between you and her. In fact, most of the time, when men get uppity or rowdy or they're drunk and they just won't stop, It's women defending other women. Do you know how many times I've had to come to the defense of women I do not know at bars because there is a drunk guy who just will not stop? And there are plenty of men around us, and the guys don't do anything. It's not until the drunk guy starts gesticulating wildly or speaking too loud, or one of the women are like, you need to stop, and we like project it, and some guy intervenes and pulls away their, 5'11" friend who could, really hurt one of us if they really don't know any better. So next time one of her friends is telling you that she's not interested, it's probably because she's not.
I'm 30.
So you're no longer attractive?
Oh my God.
She goes on to say, should I just leave? And he says, no, it's just a joke. But we all know it's not a joke. This is how some men try to use nagging as a way to humble women. He attempted to insult or undermine someone in the belief that diminished self-confidence will make them more receptive to sexual advances. He's trying to not so subtly plant the seed in her mind that she's not as attractive as younger women. As if he's doing you some kind of favor being with a woman your age. This was actually their first time meeting. So a man trying to humble you right away should always be a red flag. I don't care if he's talking about, hey, you're the one with all the money, hey, big money, or look at you with those skinny little legs. I don't usually like blondes, but you're beautiful. I don't usually like plus size women, but you're beautiful. All those little things that they're trying to do is to plant the seed in you that you should be grateful, because I don't usually go for types like you, but I'm going to make a special exception in your case. It's never a compliment. It's always to manipulate you. When you just meet a man, the two of you don't have the kind of rapport to joke around like that with each other, because neither of you know if the other person is serious. No, they're trying to plant that seed early. These are not harmless jokes. They are meant to get in your head.
Do you know how many men approach ugly women just to use them? If they, like I said, if they approach you, it's already game. Okay, game on. That's what it is. Because you know that they look too good to be approaching you, and they want something. Okay, there's this chick over here he can't afford, that chick over there he can't afford. So he's going to come to the chick that's less, appealing to try to get something out of her. He's not trying to take her out on a day to pay. He's not trying to pay her bills. He's trying to seduce her and get her to do things for him. So that's why you have to use this in reverse. Okay. I need my car at the shop. Oh, I got this idea. Oh, I just need this money to get started. Oh, I'm going to give it all to you. Yes, I'm getting my tax return. It's going to make up a big number. It's going to be about this much money, and I'm going to just give you this much right here. But I need to know you're real and you're down and A, B, C, and D.
It really sucks when you're not attractive because men completely ignore you, right? So you're a little unhappy because you're not getting any attention. But if you're mediocre looking, like I've been my entire life, you kind of get attention, and then they fake pretend to like you just to use you, waste your time, use your body. So you're just wasting all of your time, and you're deeply sad inside. And if you're lucky, you get angry and fight back and leave, like I did. But if you're really pretty, you get chased after all the time, and sometimes in a scary way. But you get chased after, desired, promised, all the promises, but you live in delusional land thinking that it's true love when really you're just feeding this guy's ego fairy tale. You may be staying at home building a home with children, all the while he's building his career to leave you for a younger person. What's worse? I almost feel like being ugly is like the best thing that could happen to a woman, because then you're not wasting your time with a man. And you're building yourself, and you're building your intellect and your career and your talents. The only thing I've ever regretted in my life wasn't getting my education, wasn't the time when I was single, because that was the time I grew the most, actually. It was the time that I spent with a man.
So y'all go to school out here?
Yeah, I go to state.
Okay, what about you?
Where do you go?
Look, shut up. I'm
Why is being a big girl in a friend group on a night out such an exhausting experience? I went out last night with my friend, and all of my friends are 10 out of 10s, which I love for them and I love for me also. And it was so alarming to me how many men would come up to my friend trying to holler at her and completely ignore me. And this is not a new experience. Like, I've experienced this multiple times, but it just alarmed me because I don't be going out like that. And I'm like, wow, people are still acting like this? Like, really? In 2024, the year of our Lord? And it's such an interesting tactic because I don't need you to entertain me. A simple hello introduction is fine, but completely ignoring my existence is just very odd to me. And it's a very interesting approach. It's do you think this is getting you brownie points with my friend? What? Because if it was me and you completely ignored one of my friends, it's a wrap. I'm never speaking to you. But when guys do that, I hold a grudge for life. Even if this goes somewhere, I will never acknowledge your existence in my entire life. I will stand on business till I die and never speak to you again. You couldn't speak to me at first jump. I will never speak to you again, truly. And I'm so glad that I have done work to just become more secure in myself, because I know I looked good as hell last night. Nobody can tell me otherwise, but I know back in the day, that would not have been the case. I would have felt so insecure. I would have felt so down about myself and been like, oh my God, what does this mean? It doesn't mean anything. It just means that people are fucking assholes. And I just hate that this is an experience that so many of us have to go through just because we are not what people are attracted to. It's weird. Honestly, it's odd. But what can we do?
Straight men do not befriend women that they don't find attractive.
Yeah, this is depressingly true. Also, the quality's bad because I'm on my old phone. The screen on my phone broke, so I gotta wait to get it repaired. I've heard so many dudes say that they don't do friendships with women at all. And all I can take from that is that a lot of y'all see no value in having a woman in your life unless she is either a family member or a romantic or sexual prospect. And maybe you want to investigate that because you don't want to have sex with your male friends, but you hang out and spend time with them anyway because you like them as people and you enjoy their company. Why is that impossible to do with a woman? I promise you can actually just be cool with people. You don't have to treat friendships as springboards to relationships. Also, that whole thing about, the friendships, they just want you to do all the work of being a boyfriend without any of the benefits. Your friendships lack emotional intimacy, and that's why you interpret it that way. But we'll get to that later.
But how's this for subtle? You take a guy and you show him the picture of someone of the opposite sex, if he is heterosexual, and you show him the picture of this individual, and if it is someone who he assesses as being attractive, you don't necessarily get this dopaminergic pathway to activate. It depends. What this study showed was if the person is making what would pass for eye contact, if they are looking straight out, the dopamine system activates. And if they're looking elsewhere, it doesn't activate. How's that for classic male sort of responsiveness? If it looks as if this attractive person is looking at you, it activates. Even more distressingly from this study, when you show men, on the average blah blah, pictures of women who they would rate as being unattractive, it's when they're looking away that the dopamine system activates. Oh my God, what is going on here?
Ladies, we need to talk about the guys who do not acknowledge your ugly friend when you're out and about, but are ready to chat you up, okay? Because I'm seeing a bunch of TikToks about people talking about the most disheartening thing that guys do, and, to women that they're not attracted to. And they keep mentioning how guys tend to, ignore women that they're not interested in, and how many of them want to humble women that they're not interested in. Okay, so I've been both the hot friend and the ugly friend. This might be a shocker to some, but a lot of people don't like me as a chunky person. But my friends are all models, so I'm usually one of the less attractive people in my group. A guy who will patently ignore your ugly friend will never actually find value in you either, because they only find value in talking to you if they think that they're getting laid. Think about that before you head home with them.
You can tell how ugly a guy thinks you are or how attractive he thinks he is in comparison to you by the way that he reacts if you say that you're not attracted to him. And the more conventionally attractive the guy is, the worse this is. Because I've had straight male friends try to ask me, do you think I'm cute? Do you think I'm hot from a woman's perspective? And I give them my honest answer, which is usually something like, yeah, from a woman's perspective, I think the majority of people would find you attractive, or I think you are conventionally attractive. I do not personally find them cute or hot or sexy, which doesn't mean that they aren't those things. They're just not my cup of tea. And the way it bothers them so much, they'll be like, it's okay, you can just say I'm hot. We're not gonna do anything. I don't like you that way, but you can say I'm hot. And I'm like, I can say it if it'll make you feel better. I don't personally feel that way, but if it will make you feel better. And they just going, no, baby, it's okay. I know you're embarrassed. I know you're shy. We're not gonna do anything, but I'll just let you think that you don't think I'm hot.
So what I'm about to tell you is a really important lesson in why you need to see how a man acts with women that he doesn't find attractive before you make any long-term decisions about this person. The other day, I was on Melrose Avenue outside the Glossier. I know, not like the other girls. And I went in to get a matcha, also not like the other girls. And I was standing in the queue for matcha, and I was standing with my friend, and there was a really cute dog there. So naturally, what do? I go up and say hi to the dog. First, I check with the owner. I say, can I say hi to your dog? And he goes, yes, of course. So I'm there talking to the dog, not talking to this man, but just talking to the dog. I was very polite. And the man struck up a conversation with me. He goes, where are you from? And I was like, oh, the UK. And he was like, what's your name? And I was like, Grace. He said, can I get your number, Grace? And I said, I'm engaged. And then I assume he's just going to leave it at that. So I'm just continuing to say hi to his dog. I'm waiting for my matcha, which obviously hasn't come out yet. And then I just smile at him and I just go to sit down. And he keeps asking questions. He just goes, whereabouts in London do you live? When did you meet your fiance? Where is your fiance from? All of this. And I just start edging him off. I'm just like, I'm not going to continue asking these questions because it's a little bit Spanish Inquisition. And I've seen one too many true crime shows to be giving my social security out to this man. So I sit down and this man will not stop asking questions. So this girl next to me, she just says to him, bro, are you going to do this to every single girl who walks out of the coffee shop? When I tell you, this man, he was perfectly nice. He was asking too many questions, but he was perfectly nice. We were having a nice normal conversation before the questions just got too many. In America, people talk to each other in the streets. I'm from London. It's not a regular thing, but it does happen. I would never have walked away from that experience thinking oh, that man was really weird. All I would have thought is he was too inquisitive and he wasn't really letting it go. This man stands up and yells at this girl. He goes, you're just fucking jealous because no one would ever ask you for your number. And I literally turned around and was like, what? And she goes all right, bro, calm down. And he goes you're fat, you're ugly, no one's ever gonna fucking propose to you, you're just jealous of her, you're jealous of me, all of this. This is a originally polite, mid-30s man. And it just made me think, if I had been standing there and I'd been talking to that dog and I was interested, this polite man looks completely normal, well-spoken, holding nice conversation. If I'd been speaking to that man and I had been interested, I never would have known that in that man's spare time, he sits in Glossier Alley and yells at women, calling them ugly, when they call him out on the fact that he is talking to every single girl that comes out of that shop. And talking to every single girl that comes out of that shop isn't it's a bit slimy, but it's not really a moral issue. But you feeling so attacked that you need to attack another woman's appearance, you need to bring them down, you need to be yelling at them in public is insane. And you could be dating a man like that and you do not know that he would act like that to women that he does not find attractive, or just any women that aren't you. How he acts towards you because he wants to be in a relationship with you is very different to how he could act with anyone else. And it just really made me think, because I was in another circumstance, what if I took that man's number? Anyway, you've just got to make sure your man's not doing that. I don't know how to do that, but I think you need to see them in environments that aren't just women they find attractive and see how they act towards women in public, because that will tell you so much about who they are as a person, but also how they would act if they no longer had use for you. And what would have been a normal response from him to her being are you going to talk to every girl who comes out of this coffee shop? Which he obviously also sensed that I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable and had moved away, which he could have done if he had any emotional intelligence. He could have just been oh, so sorry, didn't realize I was making him uncomfortable. Or even just a little bit of an arsey, oh, I was just making conversation. Whatever. But the fact you flip that easily when your intentions are being questioned shows what your intentions were. Like, it shows that you had, like, whatever ulterior motives. You can want to date someone in public, absolutely fine. But the fact that you would never know if you were dating someone like that because they find you attractive, so they've never had to act like that around you, is insane to me.
Here are 3 things guys do when they don't find you attractive. Ladies, if you're talking to a guy right now, it's only been a week or a month, and he's doing 2 out of 3 of these things, he doesn't like you. Especially number 3. If he's not doing that, it's a wrap. Like, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but he don't like you. Number 1, he does not compliment you. If he's not telling you, oh, your hair looks really good today. Oh, wow, I like the way you did your nails. When a guy likes you, he's going to compliment you on something physical. If he doesn't, there's a really good chance that he doesn't like you. Number 2, if he's not watching any of your stories or occasionally sliding up or commenting on them or even liking any of your posts, if a guy really likes you, he's going to want to figure out what type of woman you are. He's going to want to see what type of content you're posting, who you're with, because who you're with is going to define what type of woman you are. If he's not doing any of that, there's a really good chance that he doesn't like you. And number 3, if he's a really bad texter, if he's taking more than 3 hours or days to respond to you, I could promise you this, if a girl that he actually likes was texting him, he would not be taking hours or days to respond. If he's not responding to you fast or letting you know that he's busy, hey, I'm in a meeting right now, I'll text you when I'm done. If he's not doing that, there's a really good chance that there's another girl in his mind and it's not you. Follow for more.
How a man treats a woman he finds unattractive is how he feels about women. How he gives when he has nothing to gain is how generous he is. And who he is when nobody is watching is his level of character.
I don't want to live in a hole anymore. It makes me feel poor.
We are poor, but we're happy.
Come see, come sa. Anyway, the views are better above ground.
And why do men hate it when we compliment women that they find unattractive? Like, we'll compliment a woman that just happens to be fatter or something, or just not society standards. And they're like, oh, well, you guys are always hyping up these ugly women, and you guys have to be lying to each other. Women lie to each other when they compliment each other. Like, they genuinely think we're just lying when we compliment other women. And I don't know about y'all, but when I compliment a woman, I don't care if she's fat, skinny, no shape, excellent shape, I always mean it. Like I genuinely think that all women are naturally beautiful. And that's another thing. A woman came on here and said the same thing, and a bunch of men were like, oh my God, like, y'all are fucking lying. Like, I've seen a bunch of chopped women. I've seen a bunch of ugly women. Like, nobody asked you. Honestly, I feel like when we compliment each other, a lot of us, unless you're like a pick-me or some shit, or you're male obsessed, a lot of us do it genuinely because we like one another. We like to uplift one another. Like, I feel like it just goes back to patriarchy and the fact that men were taught to bottle up their emotions. So a lot of men, they express jealousy over the fact that women that are ugly in society can be considered pretty by other women. And then it's also the fact that men who are uglier are more bullied by other men rather than women who are uglier. Now, granted, women who are quote-unquote uglier are bullied by other women. That's correct. But we still try to uplift one another. We still give beauty tips, all of that. So it's like,
men will use any opportunity to make sure you know that they're not attracted to you. Men are idiots. Any interaction a man has with a woman, he sees in his brain as a potential romantic interaction. So when you interact with a man and he does not find you attractive, you're wasting his time. Like, this is not the time and place for you to let me know that you don't find me attractive, bro. If you were a former smart girl in high school, then you know. To all my former smart girls, where you at? Do y'all remember group activities? Group projects? I used to get put with someone that challenged niggas. You're making fun of the way I look. I'm holding your potential grade in my hand. Like, you don't pass this without me. Men are so woman-centered to the point where they can't interact with women naturally. You know what I mean? Everything is a potential romantic connection with y'all. And if you're unattracted and you don't feel the romantic connection, then you don't respect the person. Why am I still attracted to men?
Why do men behave like unattractive women offend them? Basically the title. I've always been below average looking, and received a lot of negative attention throughout the years. It's not the fact that people think I'm unattractive that bothers me, but how men act like it's the most awful thing that has ever happened to them. Like their day is ruined just by seeing a woman who they don't want to have sex with. I had this on several occasions, school, work. No matter if the guy is 15 or 60, they have the same reaction towards me, even though I'm in my 30s, and not even in their dating pool. So this is my rant/question. Why those extreme reactions? I've seen people of all kind of attractiveness, but never would I have thought to behave like that just because someone is not attractive to me.
I'd like to address something. So I want to talk about the videos I've been seeing lately where women are essentially talking about like the disadvantages of pretty privilege and how it's like hard to date when you're pretty, and how people make like these assumptions about you, and it makes it like more difficult to be pretty. If we're being honest, I think a lot of these videos are excuses to say you're pretty, and if that's the case, just say you're pretty. I say it all the time. But I also think there's like a misunderstanding that we're having here. Pretty privilege is an agglomeration of a lot of things, including like colorism, texturism, fat phobia, ableism. And what you're describing of like the hardships of pretty privilege are actually just misogyny. Like everything you're describing, all of these assumptions that people make, that you're catty, that you're fake, that you're blah, 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 it's really just because you're femme, and our society hates femininity. So I feel like we should just say that instead of pretending to be oppressed.
Another way to know if you have been the assigned ugly friend, if we're talking about social media settings, is that whenever you go out with one another, they never like to acknowledge on social media that they hang out with the likes of somebody like you, the assigned ugly friend. The reason why I say this is that you serve a purpose for them when they go out, when they want male attention, when they need just a little bit of company and accessory when they're outside in real life. But you see, social media, that's their constant place where they're able to angle themselves for the life they want to live, because they're aspiring. The pretty girl's always looking for something. If it's not the male gaze, it's for something. So you'll find that you'll go out with them. If you tag them in a video, they won't acknowledge it. They won't repost it. You find yourself recording them. If they record you, you never see that footage. They don't send you anything, and they definitely don't post it. Or they will encourage you to record them or take pictures of them, but they never return the favor. And if they do take a picture of you, they always conveniently take a bad picture of you. The reason why I say this is because it's pretty evident, because there's only two other girls that trump the typical pretty girl. That's the popular girl. She's normally a model or an influencer. She is well known, very popular, and has the social media following to back that. Or you have the rich girl. We're talking generational wealth, aristocrat. We're talking the wallet of daddy that gets her into rooms that the pretty girl could only dream of. Yeah, and that's who she really wants to be friends with. People normally aspire upwards. That's just society.
Nothing is more worse than an ugly chick shooting her shot at you. And I know all my guys could definitely relate to this. Like, I'm telling y'all, we could be chilling, focus on ourselves, trying to improve ourselves in life, grinding. Then they just come along, the mid ones. I'm so serious. Like, it literally could be anywhere, especially the workplace. Oh, that'd be the worst fucking feeling, because you have that same girl every single day. So you already know she's gonna try to send smoke your way, shooting her shot so many times. She'll give you those hints, those signals. It's crazy, bro. And it's like, girl, stop. I'm not feeling you. Can you get the hint? But at the same time, you're not trying to be an asshole or like a jackass about it. You're trying to be cool as much as possible, but she in her mind thinking like, you got something going on. But at the same time, we don't. But we all know it's a part of the game. They're gonna be coming in, shooting their shot, you know what I'm saying, being bold. Because if they like you enough, they're gonna shoot their shot, bro. They're gonna try to get what they can get.